Have you ever wondered why you keep repeating the same bad habits, even when you're determined to change? Or why, out of all the goals you set, only a few ever become reality? And have you ever felt like you're moving through life, but somehow drifting further away from what truly matters? If any of these resonate with you, then today's video was made for you. We all have parts of our lives we wish were different. Maybe it's a habit that's held you back for years. Maybe it's the quiet voice of self-doubt that never seems to go away. Or perhaps it's a dream, a goal, something you've longed to achieve, but somehow, life always seems to get in the way. In the non-stop rush of everyday responsibilities, deadlines, obligations, noise, it's so easy to lose ourselves, to forget who we are, and what we're really here for. But today, I want to share something powerful, a truth passed down from ancient times through the philosophy of Stoicism, a truth so simple, yet so profound. It's not the events that shape your life. It's your response to them. Let that sink in for a moment. What if the key to lasting transformation isn't found in fixing everything around us, but in fortifying who we are within? When we apply Stoic principles to our lives, we begin to see obstacles not as barriers, but as building blocks. We learn how to turn frustration into clarity, chaos into structure, and weakness into wisdom. This journey is not about detaching from the world. It's about becoming unshakable in the face of it. So today, I invite you to walk with me into the heart of Stoic wisdom, where timeless truths offer modern-day solutions, where ancient ideas become tools for inner peace, resilience, and purpose. If this speaks to you, if you've felt the weight of life and are ready to carry it differently, then stay with me to the very end. This content might challenge what you thought you knew. It might even shake you a little, but that's how growth begins. And if you find value here, I ask just one small thing: subscribe to this channel, and share this video with someone else who's walking this path too. Now, let's begin. Let's uncover how this philosophy, tested by time, can help you reshape your life from the inside out. Let's explore how to build a life rooted not in reaction, but in wisdom and quiet strength. Coming up next, we'll dive into the very first foundational principle of Stoicism, where real change begins. That's where the journey truly begins. A practice so simple on the surface, yet so deeply powerful that ancient Stoics considered it the foundation of self-mastery, and today, it's widely recognized as a life-changing tool in modern psychology and personal growth. In the Stoic worldview, mindfulness isn't just about being present in a vague, spiritual sense. It's about cultivating a razor-sharp self-awareness, the habit of watching your thoughts, emotions, and impulses with calm curiosity and clarity. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers and Roman emperors, wrote extensively in Meditations about the importance of observing one's mind as an outsider would, recognizing our thoughts and emotions without being swallowed by them. Mindfulness, to the Stoics, is about creating a pause, a sacred space, between what happens to us and how we choose to respond. Imagine mindfulness as a mirror, not one that reflects your face, but your mind. It asks honest, simple questions like, what am I thinking? Why am I thinking this? And how are these thoughts shaping what I do next? This process isn't about hunting down negativity or judging yourself harshly. Instead, it's about becoming conscious of the patterns we fall into every day, often without even knowing it. These patterns, those small, repeated behaviors, quietly shape the course of our lives, moment by moment. But once we start noticing them, we gain the power to shift them, to stop drifting on autopilot and instead steer ourselves toward a direction that serves us. not limits us. To the Stoics, mindfulness is a vital tool to help us live intentionally, not chaotically reacting to every emotion or external event, but choosing our path with calm, thoughtful presence. Epictetus said it best. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Such a simple line, yet it holds the key to everything. Because between the event and the reaction lies a space. And in that space lies your power. Mindfulness is the act of recognizing that space and choosing to fill it with wisdom, not impulse. And this insight isn't unique to Stoic thinkers. Even modern psychologists like Carl Jung spoke about the profound importance of awareness. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Carl Jung. This quote cuts straight to the heart of what mindfulness is all about. By practicing mindfulness, we begin the courageous work of bringing the unconscious into the light. We start to recognize thoughts and emotions that have long been running in the background, silently influencing our decisions, shaping our habits, and guiding our reactions, without us even noticing. Suddenly, with a clear lens, you begin to see yourself more truthfully. You understand not just what you do, but why you do it. You start to uncover the hidden roots beneath your impulses, tracing your emotional reactions back to their core. And the key? This process isn't about judgment. It's not about stamping our thoughts with good or bad. It's not about guilt or self-criticism. It's about observation. A calm, curious awareness that helps us see thoughts as they are, passing events in the mind, not absolute truths, and learning from them instead of reacting blindly. The beauty of mindfulness is in its versatility. It's not reserved for meditation cushions or spiritual retreats. You can bring it into every corner of your life, your conversations, your career, your relationships, your dreams. When someone upsets you, mindfulness lets you pause before you react. When a challenge arises, mindfulness helps you choose growth instead of panic. And when you're working toward your personal goals, it helps you stay aligned with what truly matters. That pause, that single moment between impulse and action, is where real change happens. It's where you stop being a product of your environment and start becoming the author of your own life. This shift, from automatic response to intentional choice, is exactly what the Stoics aimed for. To them, mastering this space was essential. It was the path to virtue, fulfillment, and freedom. So now, I invite you to reflect for a moment. Are there habits in your daily life that you follow without thinking? Actions you repeat automatically, even though they don't serve your values? Maybe it's how you respond to stress, how you spend your evenings, or even how you speak to yourself in your own mind. Recognizing these patterns is not a sign of weakness, it's the first powerful step toward transformation. And one practical tool that can support you on this journey is something surprisingly simple, yet incredibly effective: journaling. By writing down your thoughts, reactions, and behaviors, even just a few lines a day, you bring the unconscious to the surface. You start to notice patterns, triggers, and beliefs that you didn't even know were shaping your actions. And through that awareness, you give yourself the gift of change. Remember, mindfulness is not a destination, it's a skill. Like any skill, it requires practice. Start small. In moments of frustration or impatience, pause. Then ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? That one question can open a door you didn't know was there. In the next part, we'll explore how to use these moments of awareness not only to observe but to reshape your emotional responses, turning every emotion into a teacher, and every challenge into a tool for inner growth. Is this in line with the person I want to become? It might seem like a small question. But those tiny moments of awareness, repeated consistently, begin to reshape the architecture of your life. Like drops of water carving a path through stone. Every mindful choice moves you closer to your true self. In many ways, mindfulness is not just awareness, it's the beginning of a genuine friendship with yourself. One rooted not in perfection, but in honesty, curiosity, and compassion. And part of that self-honesty includes one of the most difficult, and most freeing, steps any human can take. Taking responsibility. In Stoic philosophy, responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself for everything that goes wrong. It doesn't mean carrying the weight of the world or drowning in guilt. Instead, it means recognizing that you are holding the reins, even when the world feels wild and unpredictable. The Stoics taught that while we can't always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. And this simple yet powerful truth invites us to stop seeing ourselves as victims of fate, and start seeing ourselves as the architects of our own reality. Responsibility, in Stoicism, isn't just about owning your actions. It's about choosing to step fully into your role as an active participant in your own life. It's the difference between drifting and steering. Epictetus said it plainly. You are not your circumstances. You are your choices. This idea holds a quiet but immense strength. Because when we stop attributing our current situation to luck, to the people around us, or to things that happened in the past, we unlock something extraordinary. The power to change our future. This doesn't mean ignoring the impact of outside forces. Life is full of unpredictable winds. But it does mean choosing to focus on what's within your hands, your thoughts, your decisions, your actions. In modern psychology, this idea aligns closely with what's called an internal locus of control, the belief that your life is primarily shaped by your own efforts and choices, not by chance or external events. People with this mindset tend to be more resilient, more proactive, and more at peace, because they understand this truth. You are not powerless. Carl Jung, again, echoed this very idea when he said, I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. When we accept responsibility, we move out of the shadows of reactivity, and into the light of intention. We begin to chart our path, not simply follow it. We become deliberate in how we engage with life, no longer letting it dictate who we are. But let's be honest, accepting responsibility isn't always easy. It requires courage. It often means looking at uncomfortable truths, about our habits, our mindset, our inner excuses. It may mean acknowledging that we've been clinging to beliefs that no longer serve us, that we've been waiting for the world to change, instead of changing how we show up in it. The Stoics, they never ran from discomfort. With that awareness comes something unexpected, opportunity. From these realizations, the Stoics teach us not to shrink or turn away, but to lean in, to welcome these moments of discomfort not as threats, but as openings for growth. When we stop blaming and start owning, we create space within ourselves. Space for honest self-reflection. We begin to see where we've been resisting the changes we know we need. We notice where fear or self-doubt has kept us small, where we've tolerated situations that no longer serve our well-being. We confront the ways we've postponed progress because facing truth felt too hard. And yes, it's uncomfortable at first. But strangely enough, in that discomfort lies a powerful sense of freedom. Because once we stop waiting for circumstances to change, we start realizing that we can change our stance within those circumstances. This shift doesn't guarantee that life will suddenly be easy. But it does mean that hardship no longer has the final word. This is Stoic resolve, the quiet strength of standing tall in the face of adversity. Not because life is easy, but because you've chosen how to meet it. To the Stoics, setbacks were never just misfortunes. They were invitations. Every obstacle, every challenge, every difficult moment, they saw them as chances to practice virtue, to strengthen patience, to refine courage, to build resilience. Marcus Aurelius said it best. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Read that again. Let it sink in. What he's saying is profound. Obstacles aren't barriers. They are teachers. They are tools. What blocks the path is the path. When you face difficulty and respond with wisdom, you don't just survive the moment, you grow through it. And that growth? It brings you one step closer to the person you want to become. But let's not forget, taking responsibility also means letting go of excuses. How often have we thought to ourselves, if only I had more time? If only things were different. These thoughts might feel comforting for a moment. They might ease the sting of failure or justify inaction. But the truth is, they steal something precious from us. Growth excuses create the illusion of safety, but in reality, they hold us back. They keep us stuck in patterns we secretly want to break. And this is where Stoicism quietly, but firmly, challenges us to face the truth about our excuses, is to stand eye to eye with the very walls we've built, walls that protect us from discomfort but also trap us from potential. Excuses are clever. They disguise themselves as logic. They whisper you're not ready yet, or tomorrow will be better. But Stoicism invites us to ask something far more powerful. What can I do right now, with what I have? That question might seem simple, but it strikes at the heart of action. Because the Stoic view is clear. The perfect moment will never come. There will always be uncertainty, always distractions, always something unfinished. But life doesn't wait. All we ever truly have is this moment, and the courage to act within it. This shift, from waiting to acting, isn't easy. It goes against our comfort zones and habits. But once we commit to it, everything changes. Imagine viewing your entire life through the lens of responsibility. Instead of feeling stuck because of what others have done, or what you've lost, you begin to focus on what's still within your reach. You stop fixating on the past and begin shaping your future with what's in your hands today. This mindset leads to something rare, a quiet, steady confidence. It's the kind of strength that says, no matter what life throws at me, I'll meet it. And it's not because everything is easy. It's because you've made a commitment. A commitment to respond with clarity. To rise after every fall. To learn from setbacks instead of shrinking from them. Because that's the essence of resilience. Setbacks don't define you, they test your resolve and reveal your growth edge. Taking responsibility isn't a one-time decision. It's a practice, a way of being. Every day, we're offered moments where we can choose how to respond. Each moment is like a drop in a bucket, slowly shaping the person we become. And one of the most powerful acts of responsibility we can embrace is setting clear, meaningful goals. Strangely, it's often where many of us struggle most. In Stoic philosophy, setting goals isn't about chasing vague dreams or chasing after grand ambition. It's not about saying I want to be successful or I want to be happy. Instead, it's about defining what truly matters to you, and then taking consistent, deliberate steps toward it. Stoicism teaches us to focus only on what we can control, And goal setting is an extension of that principle. When we set clear goals, we create a roadmap, a guide that keeps us grounded even when life pushes back. Without it, we drift. We get pulled by every distraction, every shiny object, every new idea that promises more than it delivers. Seneca warned us about this when he said, "If one does not know to which port one is sailing, no wind is favorable." Without clarity, even the best efforts scatter. We wander, we spin, we get lost. But when we take the time to define what success truly looks like, not in fantasy, but in practical, concrete terms, we gain something far more powerful than motivation. We gain direction. And that direction makes each small step purposeful. Each win, measurable. Each setback, manageable. In modern psychology, this practical process is often referred to as the SMART approach to goal setting. That means goals should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This structured way of thinking beautifully echoes the timeless principles of Stoic philosophy. Because when we set clear, focused goals, we're not just dreaming, we're taking deliberate action within our control. Let's look at the difference. Instead of vaguely saying, "I want to be healthier," a SMART goal reframes that intention into something tangible. I will exercise 3 times a week and replace sugary drinks with water. Simple, specific, actionable. And because it's concrete, it gives us something real to work on, every single day. Each time we act on that goal, we generate momentum. Each step forward, no matter how small, reinforces our sense of agency. And when life throws setbacks our way, as it always does, these grounded goals keep us steady. But the Stoics didn't stop at just getting things done. For them, goals had to be rooted in something deeper, meaning and virtue. Epictetus, the great Stoic teacher, taught that we should aim for goals that cultivate inner strength, moral character, and long-term resilience, not fleeting pleasures or social approval. So when you set a goal, go beyond the surface. Ask yourself, why does this matter to me? Does this goal reflect my values, or is it chasing someone else's expectations? Will this make me stronger, wiser, more grounded? Because here's the truth, the clearer you are on your why, the stronger your commitment will be. Especially when things get tough. Especially when the motivation fades and only your intention remains. Carl Jung captured this perfectly when he said, "Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes." That quote is a powerful reminder. If you want to set goals that last, look inward first. Your vision won't come from a billboard, a trend, or someone else's success story. It will rise quietly from your values, your convictions, your truth. This inner clarity protects us from chasing illusions. It helps us avoid goals that are really just echoes of what others think we should want. It keeps us anchored when the world gets noisy. When our goals align with our inner values, they become more than achievements, they become a reflection of who we are becoming. And that alignment, that harmony between purpose and action, is what gives us the resilience to keep going, no matter how difficult the journey becomes. Because when you truly understand why your goals matter, you're far less likely to walk away from them when things get tough. That inner clarity becomes your anchor. It holds steady when your motivation fades. It reminds you of the bigger picture when progress feels slow. But let's be clear, Goal setting isn't just about ticking boxes off a checklist. It's about crafting a path. Each small, well-placed goal becomes a stepping stone, bringing you closer to your larger, long-term aim. Let's say your ultimate goal is to develop a Stoic mindset, to become calmer, wiser, more grounded. You don't get there by sheer willpower alone. You build it through small, deliberate actions, such as practicing daily meditation, journaling your thoughts and responses, reading a passage from a Stoic text each morning. These may seem like minor habits, but over time, they begin to compound. Day by day, they transform how you think, how you react, and how you live. And with each completed step, no matter how small, you gain something powerful. A sense of progress. That feeling of forward motion isn't just motivating, it's momentum. And momentum is what keeps us going when discipline feels hard. The Stoics also emphasized the importance of setting goals that stretch us, without breaking us. There's a fine art to it. If we aim too high, we risk frustration and burnout. But if we aim too low, we rob ourselves of the strength that only emerges when we dare to grow. A goal should challenge your limits, not ignore them. Marcus Aurelius gave us a powerful reminder. Waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one. This is not a call to perfection. It's a call to action. We don't need flawless goals. We don't need the perfect plan, the perfect timing, or the perfect conditions. We just need to begin. And once we begin, we adjust as we go. We adapt. We stay flexible. We learn through the doing, not the waiting. Because life, by its nature, is unpredictable. Circumstances change, priorities shift, challenges arise. So it's essential that our goals, while grounded in purpose, are also fluid enough to evolve. Stoicism teaches that resilience and adaptability are virtues. When things don't go as planned, we don't fall apart, we recalibrate. The Stoics didn't fear change. They embraced it. To them, every unexpected turn was a chance to practice strength, wisdom, and virtue. So if a goal no longer aligns with your values or situation, goals are not prison sentences, they are guiding stars. And sometimes, to stay true to ourselves, we must allow those stars to shift in the sky. If a goal no longer aligns with who you are becoming or with the realities of your current life, don't be afraid to reshape it. The true purpose of setting goals is not rigid adherence to a plan written in stone. It's about meaningful progress, about becoming more intentional and more alive with each step forward. And as we walk this path, there's something we too often forget. Celebrate the small wins. We tend to focus so intensely on the finish line that we overlook the power of the journey itself. But Stoicism reminds us, the path matters just as much as the destination. Every small goal you meet, every moment you choose discipline over distraction, every time you pause, reflect, and respond with clarity instead of impulse, those are victories. And they deserve recognition. Not because they inflate the ego, but because they reinforce the habits that build character. Because when you take the time to acknowledge your progress, no matter how minor, it fuels your motivation to continue. You start to see your transformation unfolding in real time. And that's where true momentum is born. At the heart of all this is a trait the Stoics held in the highest regard. Resilience. Building resilience and consistency isn't about force, it's about practice. It's about showing up when life feels chaotic. About staying steady when plans unravel. And about adapting without losing your center. Life will test you. It will send obstacles when you least expect them. But Stoicism teaches us a powerful truth. We don't control what happens, but we do control how we respond. And this is where resilience begins. In Stoic thought, resilience isn't about never feeling pain. It's not about being cold or unshakable on the surface. It's about choosing to face what's hard, head on, and continuing anyway. Marcus Aurelius put it beautifully. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This isn't just poetic. It's practical. Obstacles aren't roadblocks. They are teachers. They are tests. They are the terrain we grow on. So think of resilience as a muscle. Every time you face a challenge and choose not to retreat. Every time you adapt instead of complain. Every time you keep going instead of giving up. You're strengthening that muscle. You're preparing yourself for greater storms, without even realizing it. And here's the key. Resilience isn't just about enduring hardship. Every setback we encounter offers us a quiet, powerful question. What can I learn from this? To the Stoics, resilience isn't the absence of struggle, it's the active choice to transform struggle into strength. It's choosing to rise, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary for growth. Carl Jung captured this idea when he said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." That quote reflects the very heart of Stoic resilience. We are not defined by pain, nor by failure, nor by the chaos around us. We are defined by our response. Resilience, then, is not simply endurance. It's direction. It's forward motion. It's turning obstacles into stepping stones rather than letting them become roadblocks. But resilience doesn't stand alone. It walks hand in hand with another trait just as essential. Consistency. Because even the strongest resolve can fade, without consistency to sustain it. Motivation often comes in bursts, it's exciting at the start of a journey. The vision is clear, the fire is hot. But Stoicism teaches us that motivation is fleeting. Like a breeze. It comes and goes. Consistency, however, is something we build. It's not given, it's earned through discipline and deliberate practice. Epictetus illustrated this truth in a beautiful metaphor. No great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a figure. If you tell me that you desire a figure, I answer you that there must be time. Patience. That's the hidden strength behind all meaningful growth. Real change doesn't happen in dramatic leaps. It comes through steady, often invisible steps, stacked on top of each other, day after day. So how do we begin to build that kind of consistency? Start small. Start simply. Establish routines that quietly support your goals. You don't need an elaborate system. In fact, simplicity often wins. Maybe it's just 10 minutes of mindfulness in the morning. Or journaling a few reflections at night. Maybe it's reading one Stoic quote a day and letting it guide your focus. These small rituals may seem insignificant at first, but over time, they become second nature. They form a mental anchor that grounds you when life gets chaotic. When things go wrong, as they inevitably will, your routines serve as reminders. You've been here before. You know what to do. Keep going. The Stoics were firm believers in the power of daily practice. For them, rituals weren't luxuries, they were lifelines. Simple, grounding behaviors that kept them centered, prepared them for adversity, and reminded them of what truly mattered. So when you build a routine, you're not just creating structure. You're building a support system. One that whispers to you, day by day, in quiet moments. Stay steady. Stay true. You're on the right path. Because consistency alone is not enough unless it's fueled by something stronger beneath the surface. That fuel is discipline, a quiet force that keeps you committed, especially when the excitement fades or obstacles appear. Resilience and consistency are deeply intertwined with discipline. Discipline is what carries you forward when motivation fails you. It's the ability to honor your intentions, even on the days you don't feel like it. Even when it's inconvenient. Even when no one is watching. The Stoics viewed discipline not as a punishment, but as a path to freedom and virtue. They understood that life would present countless temptations to stray from what matters. But in their eyes, discipline was the sacred anchor that kept them steady. Every time you keep your word to yourself. Every time you show up, even when it's hard. You're not just finishing a task, you're reinforcing your identity as someone who endures. Someone who doesn't crack under pressure. That strength, that inner steadiness, is what builds true resilience. Because consistency, when powered by discipline, becomes unstoppable. But what happens when things don't go as planned? When you fall short, or fail entirely? This is where Stoicism offers one of its most empowering lessons. Failure is not a dead end, it's a teacher. The Stoics never feared failure. They welcomed it as part of the journey. To them, failing simply meant, you've discovered what doesn't work. Now, with more clarity, you can adjust. You can begin again, wiser, sharper, stronger. Failure is feedback, not defeat. Marcus Aurelius offered a powerful reminder. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. In other words, when life hits you hard, don't become bitter. When failure mocks your effort, don't collapse into self-doubt. Don't let hardship mold you into someone you're not. Instead, let it refine you. Each setback is an invitation. A test. A chance to become more resilient, more grounded, more aligned. But this path also requires something else, something we often forget in our fast-paced, results-driven world. Patience. Real growth doesn't happen in a flash. You won't become wise overnight. Transformation takes time, and often, that time moves slower than we'd like. The Stoics embraced this. They knew that life unfolds in seasons, not seconds. That lasting change is built brick by brick, not in a single leap. In a world that prizes instant gratification, Stoicism reminds us to slow down. To let go of urgency. To trust the process. Seneca once said, "How much better to pursue a straight course? A straight course isn't always the fastest. But it is the most stable. And it's through this stable, patient pursuit that real strength is born. And in that steady pursuit, something remarkable happens. The words pleasant and honorable begin to mean the same thing. In other words, when your actions are rooted in virtue, when your habits reflect discipline, clarity, and purpose, life becomes not just productive, but deeply fulfilling. The Stoic path doesn't promise instant gratification. Instead, It encourages a patient, grounded trust in the process. It invites us to appreciate the journey, not just the outcome. Each day of effort. Each small act of consistency. Each decision to stay the course when it would be easier to give up. Those are quiet victories. And over time, they lead us closer to goals that truly matter. This quiet strength, the ability to persist without needing constant rewards, is at the heart of Stoic resilience. And as we build both resilience and consistency, we also begin to develop something else. The capacity to handle life's inevitable uncertainties with calm and clarity. Because let's face it, things don't always go as planned. Unexpected challenges arise. Goals shift. Circumstances change. But when you've cultivated inner strength, you're able to pivot, to adjust course, without falling apart. You no longer see setbacks as failures. You see them as part of the process. You come to understand something powerful. Setbacks aren't the end of the story. They're simply part of the journey. The Stoics believed that true strength lies not in control, but in adaptability. In our ability to meet each new situation not with panic, but with presence. Not with fear, but with curiosity. To greet change not as an enemy, but as a teacher. When we face life with resilience, we respond with wisdom instead of reactivity. We make thoughtful choices rather than impulsive ones. We stay grounded, even when everything around us feels uncertain. At the core of this adaptability is a powerful Stoic insight. Our thoughts shape our experience. The mind, according to Stoicism, is either our greatest ally or our greatest obstacle. Marcus Aurelius put it beautifully. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. This is more than a motivational quote, it's the foundation of a Stoic mindset. A truly positive mindset in Stoicism isn't about pretending everything is fine. It's not about forcing yourself to smile when life is hard. Instead, it's about cultivating a clear-eyed, empowered perspective, one that recognizes hardship, but chooses not to be broken by it. It's about seeing things as they are, and still moving forward with dignity, strength, and hope. The Stoics saw life clearly, as unpredictable, volatile, and full of events beyond our control. Storms would come, people would fail us, circumstances would shift without warning. But they also believed in a deeper truth. That within each of us lies the power to control how we think about and respond to those events. This wasn't about suppressing negative emotions. It wasn't about pretending everything is fine. Rather, it was about choosing not to be ruled by those emotions. To feel them, acknowledge them, but not let them drive our decisions or define our lives. The Stoics trained their minds not to react impulsively, but to respond thoughtfully. By learning to see things objectively, they could separate emotion from event, response from reflex. And in doing so, they uncovered something rare in this world. A peace that doesn't depend on circumstance. This is the heart of the Stoic mindset. And it's beautifully captured in one of their most profound principles. Amor fati, the love of one's fate. At first, that idea might sound radical. Love everything that happens to us, even the painful parts. Yes. Because Stoicism teaches us that every experience, good or bad, is a chance to grow. Rather than resist what we cannot change, we ask, what can I learn from this? How can this shape me into someone stronger? When we approach life this way, we begin to see difficulty through a new lens. Challenges are no longer just roadblocks, they become stepping stones. Moments of pain become meaningful, because they have something to teach us. This doesn't mean we have to enjoy the hard times. But it means we learn to accept them without resentment, to welcome them as part of the human journey. Psychologist Carl Jung echoed this philosophy when he wrote, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." Jung spoke of becoming whole, of integrating all parts of ourselves, even the wounded ones. And in that integration, we gain power. We stop being prisoners of the past, and instead become authors of our own response. This mirrors the Stoic belief that we are not defined by what we endure, but by how we interpret it and respond to it. A positive Stoic mindset encourages us to view every moment, especially the hard ones, as building blocks of character. Each setback, each failure, each painful turn is not a curse. It is a tool. A chisel, carving away the unnecessary, revealing the strength underneath. We don't let pain dictate who we are. We let it refine us. To become more patient, more resilient, more wise. And with this mindset comes another quiet, transformative practice, gratitude. In his meditations, Marcus Aurelius often paused to remind himself to be grateful. Not for riches or praise, but for the simple, everyday things. The breath in his lungs. The people who loved him. The chance to wake up and try again. To the Stoics, gratitude is mental training. It shifts our focus from what's lacking to what's already present. From craving to contentment. In a world constantly pushing us to want more, gratitude anchors us in what we already have. It reminds us that joy can be found in the smallest blessings. A sunrise. A warm cup of tea. The opportunity to practice courage, kindness, or patience today. This shift in focus doesn't erase struggle. But it does offer us the strength to walk through it with a lighter heart. To cultivate a truly positive Stoic mindset, gratitude must be paired with another practice that at first feels counterintuitive, detachment. The ancient Stoics taught that a vast share of human suffering springs from attachment to outcomes, to possessions, to status, to the future unfolding in a very specific way. When we grip tightly to how things must be, we create a subtle prison for ourselves, and every unexpected twist becomes a source of anxiety or disappointment. Detachment does not mean apathy. We still care. We still dream. We still set goals, yet we remember that our worth and our happiness do not depend on any single external result. Epictetus captured this wisdom perfectly. Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. So we channel our energy into what we can actually influence, our thoughts, our actions, our effort, and we release the rest. By doing so, we forge a mindset that is both positive and resilient, unshaken by the unpredictable tides of fortune. Self-compassion, kindness toward the self. Detachment alone is not enough. The Stoics also recognized the quiet strength of self-compassion. Although they championed discipline and self-control, they never intended these virtues to become a whip of self-criticism. Every one of us will miss the mark, stumble, or fall short of our ideals. A positive Stoic mindset therefore includes the ability to acknowledge the mistake without denial. Forgive the self without excuse-making. Extract the lesson and move forward wiser than before. Instead of harsh self-judgment, we treat ourselves with the same patience and understanding we would extend to a dear friend who is learning and growing. This is not leniency, it is constructive kindness, the soil in which long-term discipline can actually take root. Living with purpose. Finally, a positive Stoic mindset calls us to live on purpose. Clarity of personal values, knowing what we stand for, and aligning daily actions with those values produces a deep, sustainable sense of fulfillment. For the Stoics, the ultimate aim was to live a virtuous life, a life oriented toward wisdom, integrity, and moral excellence. When our decisions consistently reflect those inner convictions, positivity ceases to be a fleeting emotion and becomes a way of being in the Stoic tradition. These values are clear and timeless. Justice, courage, temperance, wisdom. These aren't lofty ideals reserved for philosophers, they're everyday guideposts. And when we live according to them, something powerful happens. Our actions begin to feel meaningful. This sense of purpose, of knowing we are acting in alignment with what truly matters, fuels a positive outlook. We no longer feel lost or at the mercy of what life throws at us. Instead, we feel grounded, steady, connected to something greater than ourselves. Daily reflection, a simple, powerful practice. One effective way to build this inner strength is by practicing daily reflection. Take just a few minutes at the end of each day to pause and ask yourself, did I respond to challenges with patience today? Did I allow small worries to dominate my thoughts? Where did I act with virtue, and where can I do better tomorrow? This habit isn't about judgment. It's about awareness. A chance to return to yourself, to your principles, and gently realign. Marcus Aurelius used this exact practice in his meditations. And more than 2,000 years later, it's just as relevant and transformative. Daily reflection keeps your Stoic compass pointed in the right direction, and reminds you of your power to choose how you respond, no matter the circumstance. Caring for the body, the foundation of strength. The Stoics also understood something we often forget in the pursuit of personal growth. A strong mind requires a strong body. Well-being isn't a luxury. It's a necessity. A purposeful life demands energy, clarity, and endurance, and that means we must take care of the vessel that carries us through it all. Epictetus reminded us that the body is both a gift and a tool. Not something to be worshipped or ignored, but nurtured. Self-care, from a Stoic perspective, isn't selfish. It's an act of discipline. A commitment to sustaining the very foundation from which your resilience, wisdom, and action emerge. In Stoic thought, health is considered a preferred indifferent. That means while health isn't under our full control, and doesn't define our virtue, we should still pursue it with intention and care. We can't guarantee perfect health. But we can make daily choices that support it, choices that strengthen us from the inside out. The Stoics didn't advocate for indulgence or excess. They believed in balance, and in respecting the body's natural needs. Movement, rest, nourishment, stillness. In meditations, Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to care for his body, not for vanity, but because a sound body contributes to a sound mind. When we care for our bodies, we're not just preparing for physical demands. We're cultivating the strength to meet life's emotional and mental challenges with patience, clarity, and endurance. And that's the heart of Stoic self-care. Discipline, not indulgence. Sustainability, not short-term comfort. Nourishment, not escape. It's the daily choice to do what truly serves you, even when it's not immediately gratifying. Exercise is a perfect example. In the moment, a workout might feel hard. You may feel tired. The discomfort is real. But over time, something greater begins to take shape, not just physically, but mentally. You're building strength. You're increasing energy. You're developing clarity of thought and emotional control. And more than that, you're practicing something far more valuable than muscle growth. You're practicing commitment. Every time you choose to move your body, whether it's a brisk walk, a challenging run, or a simple stretch, you're affirming, I am capable. I show up for myself. Exercise isn't about how you look. It's about how you feel, capable, energized, awake. Think of it not as a chore, but as mental training in physical form. You're teaching yourself to follow through, regardless of mood or motivation. Each session becomes a quiet reminder of your own discipline and devotion to long-term well-being. Mental and emotional well-being, the other half of health. The Stoics didn't just stop at the body. They also deeply understood the importance of mental and emotional well-being. Seneca once said, "A sound mind in a sound body is a short but full description of a happy state in this world." And he meant it. While physical health gives us stamina, emotional health gives us steadiness. And both are essential for a fulfilling life. But here's the challenge. We live in a world that idolizes constant productivity. Hustle, grind, go. Yet Stoicism reminds us of a crucial truth. Rest is part of the discipline. It's not laziness, it's wisdom. True self-care includes setting aside time to think, breathe, and reconnect. To recharge not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. The ancient Stoics, despite living in far harsher times, made time to slow down. Marcus Aurelius journaled daily. Epictetus urged students to reflect. And their reflections gave them strength. Today, that might mean a few quiet moments in the morning, an evening journaling session, a deep breath between meetings, or simply walking in silence without your phone. These acts aren't indulgent. They're stabilizers, habits that help you manage stress, recenter your thoughts, and return to what matters. Nourishment, eating with awareness. Nutrition was also a part of Stoic self-care. While they didn't have modern nutritional science, the Stoics deeply valued moderation and intentionality in eating. They believed food should nourish us, not control us. Musonius Rufus, a Stoic teacher often called the Roman Socrates, advocated for simplicity in diet. He believed that meals should serve the body's needs, not feed the ego or the appetites. Today, that mindset might look like choosing foods that fuel your energy and clarity, avoiding excess and mindless consumption, being present during meals, not distracted. The Stoic approach to food wasn't about restriction, it was about respect. Respect for the body, for discipline, and for living in alignment with your values. Even at the dinner table, the Stoics believed that eating with intention is a quiet but powerful act of self-respect. When we choose foods that provide energy and clarity, rather than those that leave us sluggish, we're sending a message to ourselves. I value this vessel. I care about how I feel. It's not about restriction or control. It's about making conscious choices that support our well-being, choices that say, I deserve to feel my best. Sleeping face emoji, rest, a sacred discipline. Another cornerstone of Stoic self-care, one that's often overlooked, is sleep. Marcus Aurelius frequently wrote about rest in meditations. He would encourage himself to rise early, yes, but also reminded himself of the importance of adequate sleep. He understood that a sharp, focused mind begins with a well-rested body. In today's fast-paced world, where sleeplessness is often worn like a badge of honor, it's easy to forget. Rest is not weakness, it's wisdom. A full night of quality sleep does more than replenish energy. It supports mental clarity, emotional balance, and physical recovery. Without it, our ability to think clearly, act justly, and respond wisely begins to crumble. The Stoics would argue that neglecting rest is neglecting virtue itself. Because how can we practice patience, self-control, or courage, if our minds are foggy and our emotions frayed? Sleep, then, is not indulgence. It's a daily foundation for Stoic living. Brain emoji, guarding the mind, mental self-care. Self-care for the Stoics wasn't only about sleep or diet. It also involved protecting the mind from harmful influence, a form of inner hygiene. They were mindful of the company they kept. They understood that our environments shape our thoughts, and that who we surround ourselves with matters deeply. Epictetus offered this timeless advice. The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. We may not control every interaction, but we can choose our core circle. We can decide who we confide in, who we spend the most time with, and who we allow to influence our mindset. Mental self-care is also about what we consume. The media we scroll through, the conversations we join, the habits we repeat. Are they nourishing our spirit? Are they aligning us with our values, or pulling us further away? When we are mindful of what we allow into our mental space, we create a climate of clarity, focus, and resilience. It's like tending a garden. You pull the weeds of distraction. You water the seeds of wisdom. You protect the soil from toxins. Speech bubble emoji, emotional awareness without emotional control. Another essential part of Stoic self-care is tuning into our emotions, not suppressing them, but not being ruled by them either. Carl Jung spoke of this balance when he said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." The Stoics would agree. They didn't advocate for emotional repression. Instead, they encouraged emotional mastery, the ability to observe your emotions with clarity, learn from them, and then respond with intention. This level of awareness begins with one simple choice: to pause, to reflect, to ask yourself, not how do I escape this feeling, but what is this feeling showing me? I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. Carl Jung. This simple truth echoes the heart of Stoic emotional health. The Stoics never asked us to ignore our emotions or pretend they don't exist. Instead, they urged us to take a wiser approach. To observe emotions, understand their root causes, and respond to them with clarity and reason. Emotions, in this light, aren't enemies. They're signals. And when we pause to listen, not obey, but listen, we gain power over how we engage with the world. Notebook emoji, journaling, an act of emotional self-care. One powerful way to practice this is through journaling. By writing down our thoughts, we begin to untangle the emotional knots that might otherwise overwhelm us. We gain perspective. We see patterns emerge. We release pressure from the mind by giving it a space to breathe on paper. journaling isn't about perfection. It's about gentle self-reflection. A quiet moment to ask, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling it? What does this emotion want to teach me? Over time, this practice becomes a kind of therapy for the soul. It strengthens our ability to process challenges calmly and stay focused on what truly matters. In this way, journaling becomes emotional hygiene, a daily ritual that centers us and builds inner strength. Red heart emoji, self-care as a commitment to life. To prioritize self-care is to honor yourself. It's the act of saying, I matter. My well-being is important, not just for me, but for everyone around me. The Stoics believed this, too. They didn't see self-care as selfish. They saw it as essential, a necessary foundation for contributing to the world with wisdom, compassion, and purpose. Because when we feel whole, we think clearly. When we are rested and nourished, we can support others more fully. When we are grounded, we make decisions from strength, not fear. This reframes self-care from being optional to being vital. Taking care of your mind, body, and emotions is not a luxury. It is a responsibility to yourself, and to the life you've been given. It's a daily declaration. I'm here. I'm awake. I'm ready. Flexed biceps emoji, the strength to face life with grace. True strength isn't just the ability to endure difficulty. It's also about how we care for ourselves in the process. It's about showing up for your inner world with just as much attention as your outer one. About holding yourself with compassion even as you stretch toward growth. By embracing resilience, cultivating a positive Stoic mindset, and consistently prioritizing self-care, you're not only shaping who you are. You're shaping a life rooted in clarity, purpose, and unshakable inner power. Every single day is an invitation to grow just a little wiser, to stand just a little stronger, to become just a little more aligned with the person you're meant to be. Thank you for being part of this journey with us here at Stoic Lifestyle. Your commitment to growth, reflection, and strength means more than you know. If you're ready to keep walking this path, explore one of the suggested videos on your screen right now, and let's go even deeper, together. Because the journey isn't over. It's just getting started. You don't need to fix everything today. You don't need to rewrite your entire life overnight. You just need to begin. With presence. With honesty. With stillness. Herb emoji, the Stoics didn't chase perfection. They pursued mastery, of the self, of the moment, of what they could control. Speaking head emoji. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are the choice you make now. And that is where everything changes.